Welcome, dear listeners, to the shadowy corridors of the unexplained and the eerie. You are about to enter a world where the line between the material and the mystical blurs, where objects hold more than just sentimental value, they harbor spirits, curses, and tales that chill the bone. In this episode, we draw back the veil on one of the most haunting tales of the supernatural. The story of Robert the Doll, a figure of fear, wrapped in the fabric of Key West's rich history. Robert is no ordinary toy. He is a sentinel of the supernatural, a keeper of secrets, and a harbinger of misfortune to those who dare cross him. Nestled in the heart of sunny Florida, amidst the breezy, palm-lined streets of Key West, lies a story so chilling it has captured the imaginations and nightmares of many. This is not a tale for the faint of heart. It whispers of dark corners, of unexplained movements, and of a cursed existence that stretches beyond the grasp of time. Robert the Doll, with his lifeless eyes and enigmatic smile, sits at the center of this maelstrom of mysteries, holding within him stories of misfortune, of eerie occurrences, and of the strange bond he shares with those who come into his realm. As we delve into the origins, the legends, and the eerie occurrences that have followed Robert through the decades, we invite you to draw closer, to listen intently, and to ponder the possibilities that lie beyond the veil of the known. What forces bind this cursed doll? What stories does he hold in his silent vigil? And why do those who disrespect him find themselves ensnared in a web of misfortune? Join us as we explore the haunting tale of Robert the Doll. Let the journey begin, but beware, dear listeners, for this story treads through the shadows of the unknown. Are you ready to face the mysteries that await? In the heart of the early 20th century, amid the burgeoning streets of Key West, Florida, the story begins to unfold, a story that would etch itself into the annals of the supernatural and leave a mark of curiosity and fear on all who would come to know it. This is the story of Robert the Doll, an enigma wrapped in the guise of a child's toy, whose origins are as mysterious as the tales that surround him. Our tale begins not with the doll, but with a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto, an heir to a prominent Key West family, whose childhood would become forever intertwined with that of his unusual companion. It was a time of innocence, a time before the world knew of the eerie silence that would fall upon the Otto household, a silence punctuated only by whispers of the unexplained and the inexplicable. The genesis of Robert's story is shrouded in mystery, as is the manner in which he came into the life of young Robert Eugene. Legend has it that the doll was a gift, presented under circumstances that remain a matter of speculation and whispered rumors. Some say the doll was crafted by a skilled artisan, known for imbuing his creations with a semblance of life that unsettled all but the most ardent admirers of his work. Others whisper of darker origins, that the doll was given by a servant, versed in the arts of voodoo and black magic, who imbued it with a spirit or purse as retribution for wrongs real or imagined. From the moment Robert the doll entered the Otto household, an unspoken and immediate bond was forged between the toy and a boy for whom it was named. Young Robert, perhaps in a child's innocent egotism, or driven by a deeper, unseen force, bestowed upon the doll his own name, declaring henceforth that he would be known as Jean, reserving Robert for his silent companion. This act, seemingly innocuous, would come to be seen as the first thread in a web of supernatural events that would envelop their lives. The connection between Jean and Robert was profound, transcending the typical attachment a child might feel for a favored toy. Jean would speak to Robert for hours, ensconced in his playroom, the murmurs of conversation ebbing and flowing through the closed door. To the outside observer, it was a child at play. Yet those within the Otto household soon began to sense that there was more to these interactions than met the eye. Servants whispered of hearing two voices conversing in a boy's room, one undoubtedly Jean's, the other a deeper, more unsettling timbre that could not be explained. As the days passed, the bond between boy and doll deepened, casting a shadow of apprehension over the Otto home. What began as an innocent fascination would soon give way to a series of unexplained occurrences, each more disturbing than the last. It was as if the very air around Robert pulsed with an energy that was both alien and foreboding, a harbinger of the dark tales that would come to define the legend of Robert the doll. In this chapter of our story, we have crossed the threshold into a world where the boundaries between the animate and inanimate blur, where a boy's affection for his doll harbors the seeds of a mystery that will unfold in the shadowy corners of Key West history. The tale of Robert and Jean is just beginning, a narrative steeped in the unknown, inviting us to ponder the nature of the bond that ties them, a bond that whispers of secrets, curses, and the eerie dance between light and shadow. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the quaint streets of Key West, the Otto household, too, falls under a cloak of darkness, a darkness punctuated not by the night, but by the growing unease that has begun to permeate its walls. Within these walls, strange occurrences have started to unfold, each more bewildering and unsettling than the last, all seemingly centered around Robert, the doll with the glassy-eyed stare and the faint, inscrutable smile. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly, a misplaced toy here, a knocked-over vase there, items found far from where they had been left, with no explanation as to how they had moved. The Otto family initially dismissed these incidents as the forgetful acts of busy minds, or the playful mischievousness of their young son, Jean. But as the days passed, these occurrences grew more frequent, more inexplicable, and more alarming. Whispers among the household staff spoke of eerie giggles echoing through the corridors when no one was around to make them. Servants reported entering Jean's room to find Robert in different positions than where they have left him, as if the doll had moved on its own accord. Sometimes they found him facing the window, as though yearning for something beyond the glass. At other times, he was discovered seated at the foot of Jean's bed, his lifeless gaze fixed upon the sleeping boy. The most disconcerting reports, however, came from those who swore they saw Robert's expression change. A smile one moment, a frown the next, then a look of scorn all fleeting, all inexplicable, and all contributing to the growing legend of Robert's unnatural abilities. The Otto family's unease turned to apprehension as the strange happenings continued to escalate. Nighttime brought the most unsettling occurrences, with the sound of tiny footsteps scampering across the wooden floors when all were asleep, save for the inanimate sentinel who watched over the household. On more than one occasion, Jean's laughter was heard in the dead of night, mingling with another laughter not quite like his, a giggling that was too knowing, too old to belong to a child. Jean himself would often blame Robert for various misdeeds, insisting with wide-eyed sincerity that it was Robert, not he, who had caused the disturbances. Robert did it, became a refrain within the household, one that was met with skepticism but also a creeping sense of dread. For if it was not Jean, then who or what was the source of the mischief? The Otto family found themselves caught in a web of uncertainty and fear. Guests of the household would leave with stories of cold drafts, inexplicable sounds, and the unnerving feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. The family, once proud and welcoming, began to close its doors, shrouded in the mystery that had enveloped their home. In the shadow of these events, the Otto family and their servants could no longer deny the influence that Robert wielded within their home, a presence that was as inexplicable as it was undeniable. The doll, with its stitched smile and button eyes, sat at the epicenter of a storm of paranormal activity, casting a long shadow over the lives of all who resided within the Otto household. As the line between the natural and the supernatural blurred, one thing became clear: Robert was no ordinary doll, and his story was far from over. As the saga of Robert the doll unfolded within the walls of the Otto household, the circle of fear and apprehension began to widen, reaching beyond the immediate family to ensnare those who dared to scoff at the doll's reputed powers, or, worse, to disrespect him. With each passing day, the legend of Robert grew, fed by whispers of misfortune and tales of the unexplainable that seemed to follow in the doll's silent wake. The people of Key West, a community no stranger to tales of the supernatural, began to eye the Otto residents with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. Visitors to the home, skeptics and believers alike, often left with stories that would chill the blood of those who heard them. Accounts of encounters with Robert varied, but a common thread emerged: disrespect or disbelief in Robert's powers often preceded incidents of bad luck, accidents, and inexplicable misfortunes. One tale tells of a journalist who, while writing a piece on the Otto family and their peculiar heirloom, made the grave error of mocking Robert while in his presence. Laughing off the warnings, she completed her piece, only to find her career in shambles in the months that followed, her life beset by a series of unfortunate events from which she never fully recovered. Another story recounts the fate of a visitor who, in a brash display of disbelief, openly scorned Robert, only to be involved in a near-fatal accident upon leaving the Otto home. His recovery was marred by setbacks, and he was left with a profound sense of unease, forever convinced that his misfortune was a direct consequence of his disrespect towards the doll. As these stories multiplied, so too did the fear surrounding Robert. The Otto family found themselves increasingly isolated as the community's fascination turned to fear. Within the household, the blame for any mishap, no matter how small or seemingly unrelated, was laid at Robert's feet. The doll became a scapegoat for all manner of accidents and misfortunes, further entrenching the belief in his supernatural influence. In time, the decision was made to isolate Robert, in the hope that doing so would curb the strange occurrences that had become all too common. He was relegated to the attic, a space far removed from the daily life of the family, where it was hoped his unsettling influence would be contained. But confinement did not quell the rumors or the eerie happenings that seemed to emanate from his very being. If anything, it only added to the mystique, as tales of the doll's powers continued to grow, fed by the silence and shadows of his attic prison. The darkness of the attic, a place of dust and forgotten memories, became Robert's domain, a kingdom where he reigned and challenged, his silent vigil unending. The family hoped that by removing him from view, the strange occurrences and the dark cloud that had settled over their home would dissipate. That the legend of Robert was not so easily quelled. Even in isolation, his presence was felt, a specter that loomed large in the collective consciousness of the Otto family and the community beyond. In this chapter of our tale, the enigma of Robert the doll deepens, a testament to the power of belief and the shadow it can cast. The lines between truth and superstition blur, leaving us to wonder where one ends and the other begins. As the stories of misfortune and mystery continue to accumulate, one thing becomes clear: Robert is no ordinary doll, and his story is far from over. The whispers of his influence, of the fear and fascination he inspires, echo in the silence, a chilling reminder of the unknown forces that may dwell within the inanimate, waiting, watching, and influencing the world of the living. As the shadows of time stretched longer, the life of Robert Eugene Otto drew to a close, leaving behind a legacy shrouded in mystery, and a doll whose story was far from finished. The passing of Jean Otto marked a new chapter in the saga of Robert the Doll, one that would see him emerge from the confines of the attic to cast his unsettling shadow over new lives, new households, and ultimately find a place within the public imagination that transcended the walls of the Otto home. In the wake of Jean's death, Robert found himself in the hands of new guardians, each unprepared for the peculiar legacy they had inherited. With Jean gone, the doll's unsettling presence became more pronounced, as if the departure of his lifelong companion had awakened a restlessness within him. Those who came to own Robert spoke of a palpable sense of unease that accompanied him, of cold spots in rooms where he was placed, and of a feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. The tales of misfortune and eerie occurrences that had once been confined to the Otto household began to spread, as new owners reported experiences that echoed the unsettling phenomena of the past. Objects moved without explanation, sinister giggles echoed in empty rooms, and unexplained malfunctions of electronic devices became all too common in Robert's vicinity. It seemed as though the doll's influence, rather than being diminished by Jean's passing, had only grown more potent. As Robert passed from owner to owner, the stories of his supernatural influence accumulated, each account adding to the tapestry of legend that surrounded him. Skeptics turned believers after experiencing inexplicable events, and the circle of those who had felt Robert's presence firsthand widened, drawing in the curious, the fearful, and the fascinated. The decision to place Robert in a museum was born of a desire to contain his influence, to safeguard the public from the unexplained phenomena that seemed to follow him. The Fort East Martello Museum in Key West became his final residence, a place where he could be studied, observed, and, it was hoped, understood. Encased in glass, Robert sits, his gaze fixed on those who come to gaze upon him, his legend inscribed on plaques that tell a fraction of his story. In the museum, Robert has become more than a doll. He has become a phenomenon, a focal point for discussions on the supernatural, the power of belief, and the mysteries that lie beyond the veil of the known. Visitors to the museum report feeling a chill upon meeting Robert's gaze, of cameras malfunctioning in his presence, and of a sense of unease that lingers long after they have left. The placement of Robert in the museum has not quelled the stories or the speculation about his powers. If anything, it has amplified them, drawing in thousands who wish to see for themselves the doll that has captured the imagination of so many. Robert's story, it seems, is one that continues to evolve, to grow with each telling, each visit, each glance that meets his age-old eyes. As we close this chapter on Robert the Doll, we are left with more questions than answers. Is the power attributed to Robert a manifestation of collective belief, a psychological phenomenon, or is there something truly supernatural at play? The legend of Robert the Doll, housed now within the protective walls of a museum, continues to intrigue, to inspire fear, and to challenge our understanding of the boundary between the material world and that which lies beyond our comprehension. In the heart of Key West, Florida, within the historic walls of the East Martello Museum, there resides an artifact unlike any other. This is the current domain of Robert the Doll, whose legend has transcended the boundaries of mere ghost stories to become a cornerstone of supernatural lore. The museum, aware of the unique position it holds as the caretaker of such an enigmatic object, has embraced Robert's notoriety, curating an experience that balances the fine line between historical artifact and paranormal phenomenon. Visitors to the museum are drawn by a mix of curiosity, fear, and fascination, each person stepping through its doors, carrying their own expectations, their own disbelief or belief in the tales that have swirled around Robert for decades. The museum staff, well versed in the history and the mystique of Robert, provide not just a viewing of the doll, but an immersion into his world, detailing his origins, the stories of misfortune linked to him, and a cultural impact he has had. But it is not merely the visual encounter with Robert that captivates those who come. It is the rituals and superstitions that have grown around him, practices born out of respect, fear, or perhaps both. One of the most adhered to superstitions is the practice of asking Robert's permission before taking his photograph. It is said that those who fail to show this respect, who snap a picture without seeking consent, find themselves cursed with bad luck, a series of unfortunate events, or technological mishaps, their cameras malfunctioning, or their photographs inexplicably marred. This ritual of permission has become a rite of passage for visitors, a whispered instruction passed between the uninitiated as they approach his glass enclosure. The act, whether seen as a nod to the power of belief or a playful engagement with the unknown, adds a layer of interaction that deepens the connection between Robert and those who come to see him. It speaks to the human need to negotiate with the things we fear, to find some measure of control in the face of the inexplicable. The museum has also become a repository for the letters of apology sent by those who, having flouted the ritual or disrespected Robert in some way, find themselves seeking to make amends. These letters, displayed near Robert, serve as a testament to the enduring belief in his influence, each one a story of skepticism turned to conviction. The East Martello Museum, in its stewardship of Robert the Doll, has become more than a keeper of history. It has become a focal point for a living, evolving story that continues to captivate and chill to this day. The rituals, the superstitions, and the atmosphere of respectful apprehension that surround Robert are as much a part of his legacy as the tales of his supernatural powers. They are a reminder of the thin veil that separates the known from the unknown, the seen from the unseen, and a power of belief to shape our experiences of the world around us. As our journey through the story of Robert the Doll concludes, we are left with a lingering sense of wonder, a reminder that there are mysteries in this world that defy explanation, that call us to question the boundaries of our understanding. Robert, in his silent vigil within the museum, remains an enigmatic figure, a challenge to our perceptions of reality, and a testament to the enduring allure of the supernatural in the human psyche. As our tale of Robert the Doll unfolds into the contemporary era, the line between legend and reality blurs further, magnified by the lens of popular culture. Robert's story, once confined to whispered tales in Key West, has transcended its geographical origins, capturing the imagination of a global audience. Documentaries, movies, and a constant buzz on social media have woven Robert's legend into the fabric of modern folklore, each retelling adding layers to his mystique, each adaptation exploring the boundaries of fear and fascination that Robert embodies. The digital age has allowed Robert's story to proliferate, spawning a myriad of content that ranges from the earnestly curious to the overtly sensational. Social media platforms are abuzz with accounts of personal experiences, supposed encounters, and speculative theories, each post serving to cement Robert's status as a paranormal celebrity. This relentless spotlight not only amplifies the mystery surrounding Robert, but also invites a broader spectrum of interpretation and skepticism. Amidst the fervor and fanfare, a chorus of skeptical voices emerges, challenging the supernatural narrative that clings to Robert. Skeptics point to the absence of empirical evidence, arguing that the phenomena attributed to Robert can be explained through logical, natural means. They dissect the stories of misfortune, seeking to untangle the psychological threads that lead individuals to blame an inanimate object for their woes. This skepticism opens the door to a deeper understanding of the psychological underpinnings of our fascination with objects like Robert. Psychologists suggest that the human tendency to attribute lifelike qualities to inanimate objects, known as animism, is a fundamental aspect of the human psyche. This inclination, rooted in our evolutionary past, blurs the lines between the animate and inanimate, imbuing objects with personalities, intentions, and powers beyond their physical form. The phenomenon of pareidolia, the human tendency to perceive faces and assign emotions to inanimate objects, further complicates our relationship with entities like Robert. This psychological quirk explains why some may perceive a shift in Robert's expression or feel watched by his glassy eyes, projecting their fears and anxieties onto an object that, in reality, remains unchanged. Moreover, the concept of a haunted object taps into the universal human experience of fear, particularly the fear of the unknown. Robert, with his storied past and eerie visage, becomes a canvas onto which individuals project their deepest anxieties and uncertainties. The stories of curses and misfortune associated with disrespecting Robert may also serve as a modern-day morality tale, a reminder of the consequences of hubris or the violation of social norms. In this final chapter, the legend of Robert the Doll stands as a testament to the power of storytelling, the allure of the unknown, and a complex interplay between belief, psychology, and the human need to make sense of the world around us. Whether viewed through the lens of skepticism or belief, Robert continues to fascinate, challenge, and inspire, a silent witness to the endless human quest to understand the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of the known. As we draw the curtains on the enigmatic saga of Robert the Doll, it becomes clear that his story is far more than a series of chilling anecdotes or a mere curiosity housed within the walls of a museum. Robert embodies the enduring human fascination with the supernatural, serving as a poignant case study in the power of belief and the depths of the human psyche. His legend persists, not merely because of the eerie occurrences reported by those who've crossed his path, but due to our intrinsic desire to explore the unknown, to confront our fears, and to question the nature of reality itself. Robert's story is a mirror reflecting broader cultural and historical anxieties, a tangible manifestation of the fears that have pervaded societies throughout the ages. He stands at the crossroads of folklore and psychology, of past superstitions and contemporary skepticism, embodying the timeless human quest to understand the unseen forces that shape our lives. Through him, we grapple with questions of fate, free will, and the existence of a world beyond our physical senses. The debate over the boundaries between the paranormal and the power of the human mind to conjure its own hauntings continues to rage around Robert. To some, he is a harbinger of misfortune, a vessel for a supernatural entity with the power to influence the living world. To others, He represents the incredible capacity of the human mind to imbue objects with life, to create stories and beliefs so powerful they take on a life of their own. This duality is at the heart of Robert's intrigue, the reminder of our vulnerability to the stories we tell and the beliefs we hold. The fascination with Robert goes beyond the thrill of fear. It is a journey into the depths of human belief and the mysteries of the unseen world. His story challenges us to consider the limits of our understanding and the possibilities that lie just beyond the reach of science and reason. It invites us to reflect on the nature of belief itself, on how the stories we weave around the unknown can shape our perceptions, our experiences, and ultimately, our reality. As we ponder the legacy of Robert the Doll, we are reminded of the power of narrative to transcend time, to connect us with the past, and to inspire fear, wonder, and curiosity. The continuing debate over the nature of his influence, whether paranormal or psychological, underscores the complexity of the human mind and the mysteries that still elude our grasp. Robert's story, a blend of history, mystery, and the supernatural, continues to captivate, a testament to our enduring fascination with the shadows that dance at the edge of the known world. In the silence that follows our tale, we are left to wonder what other mysteries linger in the corners of our world, waiting to be discovered. How many more stories like Robert's are woven into the fabric of our cultures, awaiting the light of curiosity to reveal their secrets? As we seek answers, we tread the thin line between belief and skepticism, between the world we see and the worlds that lie just beyond, in the realm of the unseen, the unexplained, and the unforgettable. In our final chapter, we delve into the profound legacy of Robert the Doll, a sentinel at the boundary of the known and the unknown. His story is not just one of hauntings and horror, but a poignant reminder of the thin, often indiscernible veil that separates our everyday world from the mysteries that lie just beyond our grasp. Robert stands as a beacon for those drawn to the shadows, a figure that embodies our deepest fears and our unquenchable curiosity about what lies beyond the edge of human understanding. Haunted objects like Robert serve as conduits to explore these limits, tangible links to the intangible, offering us a rare glimpse into the unknown. They challenge our perceptions, forcing us to question what is real and what is imagined, and to confront the possibility that the world is far more complex and mysterious than we ever dared to believe. Through stories like Robert's, we venture into the realms of the unexplained, pushing the boundaries of science and reason, and daring to imagine the unimaginable. The fascination with Robert and objects like him goes beyond mere superstition or the thrill of the scare. They represent a fundamental human trait, the drive to explore, to understand, and to make sense of the world around us. Haunted objects are artifacts of this quest, physical manifestations of the mysteries that have puzzled humanity since the dawn of time. They remind us that, despite our advancements and our knowledge, there are still things that elude explanation, phenomena that defy logic and challenge our belief in the order of the universe. Robert's legacy is a testament to our enduring fascination with the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. He serves as a reminder that the world is full of wonders and horrors, of stories waiting to be told, and secrets waiting to be uncovered. As we stand at the threshold of the known and the unknown, haunted objects like Robert the doll beckon us to look closer, to question more deeply, and to marvel at the vast, uncharted territories of the human experience. In contemplating the legacy of Robert the doll, we are invited to reflect on our own beliefs, our own fears, and our own curiosity about the world beyond the veil. His story challenges us to keep exploring, to keep questioning, and to maintain a sense of wonder about the mysteries that surround us. As we close this chapter, let us carry forward the spirit of inquiry that Robert embodies, a reminder of the endless quest for understanding in a world that remains forever filled with mystery and marvel. Thus, as the tale of Robert the doll concludes, we are left with more than just a story of a haunted object. We are left with a reflection on the human condition, a meditation on our place in a universe that is as mysterious as it is magnificent. Robert's legacy is a call to all who hear his story to embrace the unknown with courage, curiosity, and an open mind, ever mindful of the thin veil that separates the world we know from the world we have yet to discover. As we draw the curtains on the enigmatic and chilling tale of Robert the doll, our journey through the corridors of the supernatural and the human psyche comes to an end. This story, woven from threads of history, mystery, and the unexplained, leaves us pondering the profound impact of belief and the power of the mind to shape our realities. We've traversed a landscape where the lines between the tangible and the ethereal blur, where objects like Robert hold a mirror to our deepest fears and fascinations. This tale is a testament to the enduring allure of the unknown and the human compulsion to seek answers to the unanswerable. As we conclude, let this story not just be a momentary shiver down your spine or a fleeting whisper in the dark. Let it be a reminder of the rich tapestry of human experience, where fear, curiosity, and wonder interlace to define our engagement with the world around us. The story of Robert the doll is more than a ghost story. It's a narrative that challenges us to confront the unknown with an open heart and an inquisitive mind. Thank you for joining me on this extraordinary journey. As you move forward, may you carry with you the spirit of inquiry and openness that this story embodies. Until we meet again in the realm of the unknown, keep the light on and never stop questioning what lies beyond the veil of our understanding. This is the end of our tale, but remember, the world is full of stories like Robert's, waiting just beyond the corner of your eye. So, listen closely, look carefully, and always be ready for the mysteries that await. Goodbye for now, and may your path be lit with curiosity and wonder until our next adventure into the shadows.